Have you ever considered what a man shares in a moment of closeness? It is not merely his body, nor an act of skill. What he extends, often without his own awareness, is a current of his spirit, a current that seeks something. It seeks a sense of place, of genuine warmth, of feeling seen. This offering is often concealed within the appearance of attraction, of physical wanting, of masculine energy. It is not just the meeting of two bodies. There is a deeper stream moving just beneath the surface. For at his center, a man's truest desire is rarely for the act itself. It is to be witnessed, to be truly felt, and to be acknowledged in his entirety, even in the parts of him that feel incomplete. A man who brings himself to a woman in complete vulnerability is not simply seeking a sensation. He is searching for the gentleness he may have never been shown. It appears physical, yet it is deeply spiritual. It seems like a momentary desire, but it is often an ancient emptiness wearing the costume of strength. When connection is true and unguarded, it reveals the performance for what it is and shows the vulnerability behind the armor. It is in this unshielded moment that life's wisdom often appears. The body speaks its own truth, and our unseen aspects are reflected back to us, but only if one is willing to look past the surface and into the clarity of what is real. Ancient teachings do not view desire as a simple impulse. They see closeness as a bridge between worlds, the one we see and the one we feel. There is an understanding that every profound connection shows more than it seems. From this perspective, desire is not created in the body alone. It is born from our inner world. Every gesture, every urge, has roots that go deep into the unseen parts of ourselves. The joining of two people is an exchange of energy, of hidden patterns, of unspoken intentions. And when a disharmonious energy enters your life, what was meant to be connection can become a drain on your body, your emotions, and your spirit. In this reflection, you will see why many men feel a sense of depletion after intimacy, why there is a tiredness that does not come from the body. It flows from the spirit. Each time you give yourself without presence, without true connection, you trade a part of your own stillness for fleeting moments of being seen. A woman's body can be a sacred space, but yours is as well. And when two such spaces meet without awareness, a chaos of energy can be created. You are not just being physical, you are opening gateways. And it is wise to know that not all gateways lead to peaceful places. As this understanding unfolds, you will start to perceive what was always there. But you were never taught how to read the signs. When a man allows himself true surrender in intimacy, he doesn't just present his physical form. He uncovers hidden landscapes of his soul, the fear of not being accepted, the insecurity he covers with a show of strength, the silence that is heavy with a history he cannot name. This kind of deep connection is not about the physical act. It is about the feeling of being exposed from the inside out. It is in that shared glance, in the stillness between touches, that the unseen younger self emerges, the one who wished only to be cared for without having to prove his worth. And that vulnerability is more confronting than any physical nakedness. In that moment of quiet truth, how many men crumble inwardly while keeping a steady expression? The mask of the strong does not fall with loud displays. It dissolves in stillness. A single, gentle touch can awaken an echo of past departures. A small gesture can expose an emotional scar he never found words for. Timeless wisdom teaches that the unconscious is always communicating, and in moments of closeness, it speaks loudly. The body becomes the stage where the spirit acts out its quiet pains. This is why many men withdraw when they begin to feel too seen, because to face true intimacy is to face an emotional mirror, and not everyone is prepared to see the reflection of who they truly are. The erosion of a man's strength does not start with a major life event. It begins with a single touch that finds its way through a crack in his armor. And when this happens, something within starts to stir. But that stirring is just the beginning. Most men were raised to believe that offering pleasure was a matter of method, as if it were a recital. Perform well, create an impression, show that you are capable. But true desire, the kind that forges a bond, the kind that touches the soul, flows much deeper. To offer pleasure can be a spiritual practice, a path to a part of yourself you have forgotten, the part you learned to put away long ago. At the core, every man holds a gentle, receptive side, one that the world taught him to conceal. And here is the paradox. When a man genuinely opens up in intimacy, he is not just connecting with her body, he is connecting with that hidden part of his own being. Sacred pleasure is not an act of control, it is an act of overwhelming presence. It is when the body becomes a source of truth, an emotional mirror where he can see himself without any masks, and in that ritual of touch, something awakens that no performance could ever imitate. This is the point where desire stops being only of the flesh and becomes of the spirit. A ritual of connection does not start in the body. It begins in listening without a single word, in allowing that exiled sensitivity to finally surface again. It is not about proving your worth to anyone. It is about rediscovering who you truly are beneath the fractured defenses. When that happens, pleasure transforms into a form of healing. But for many men, this path still feels far too exposed. Many will say they are searching for love. But if you look deeper, what they yearn for is acceptance. This kind of desire doesn't just stem from a wish to connect with another. It rises from a history of lack, from a deep-seated need to finally feel chosen. It is as if in every new relationship, the unseen younger self is quietly hoping someone will finally say, "I see you. You have value." And this is where the cycle begins. When the hunger to be wanted is stronger than the ability to care for oneself, a man begins to lose his form. He becomes whatever he thinks is needed. He yields. He gives away parts of his spirit for small pieces of approval. Have you observed such a man? The one who offers everything, who is perpetually present, always accommodating, yet is still overlooked. The issue is not that he is flawed. It is that he is caught in an emotional current that repeats itself. An excess of kindness can often be pain wearing the mask of virtue. He is not extending love from a full place. He is pleading for warmth using the language of service. And from here, an unconscious expectation arises. He hopes the other person will be his rescue, saving him from his own lack of self-worth. But this never brings balance. It requires courage to look inward and ask, what am I trying to demonstrate? Because at times, the effort to be the flawless partner is simply a denied reflection of a spirit in ruins. And when a man can see this truth, he starts to dismantle the theater of his actions. He begins to find his genuine presence, the part of him that doesn't need to be perfect to be worthy of care. But to arrive at that place, he must first be willing to face what he has kept in the dark. And in that moment, the entire pattern can change. An ancient piece of wisdom states that what you do not bring into your awareness will guide your life as if it were destiny. And this is precisely what happens for so many men. They believe they are making conscious choices, but in truth, they are simply repeating patterns of unaddressed pain. The unseen self is the hidden, wounded, and rejected part of our being. It steers a man's life without him even realizing it. And so, each relationship becomes a replay of old sorrows, a cycle that does not find its close. This is why intimacy can feel like navigating a landscape full of hidden triggers. Not because the other person is difficult, but because the wounds inside are still present. He approaches with a mask of composure, but inside, he feels unsettled. He looks to the other for a solution to an inner emptiness he has never learned how to tend to. In this internal struggle, the body becomes either a fortress to hide behind or a bridge to connect. It all depends on whether he views emotional honesty as a danger or as an opening for healing. The unseen part of you is not what you despise. It is what you conceal from yourself. That fear of appearing insufficient, that panic of not being chosen, that quiet thirst for approval, it all resides there in the unconscious, waiting for a moment to come to the surface. And where does it surface? In the touch that sparks a memory, in the emotional mirror of a close connection, in the repeated choices that seem like accidents but are really echoes of the past. Every man, at some point, will see in another person what he has not yet found in himself. He looks at a woman and, without realizing it, asks her to be everything: a partner, a motherly figure, a guide, a source of salvation. The problem is not in loving another deeply. It is in the expectation that someone else can fill the spaces that are empty inside. That is not love. It is the projection of a historical lack, a ghostly desire for a sense of belonging he may have never known. And this projection nearly always leads to disillusionment. Because when you put another person on a high pedestal, you are no longer seeing them for who they are. You are seeing the reflection of your own untended inner world. That vision of perfection becomes an emotional confinement. With the very first imperfection, the entire structure you built begins to crumble. The man who once saw greatness now feels disappointment. Desire can turn to bitterness. All because he tried to find on the outside what he was meant to awaken on the inside: his own quiet strength, his forgotten sensitivity, his deep inner presence. It is in this restless search to feel whole that many men become lost. They mistake intensity for love, a feeling of need for connection, and another's presence for salvation. But no woman, no matter how wonderful, can serve as a perfect mirror for a man who has not yet met himself. The emotional reflection begins within. To look at that unadorned reflection requires a quiet strength that many men have not yet cultivated. And yet, that very courage is the key to the next step on the path. Most men live their lives hoping to be affirmed, a kind word, being chosen, a soft touch that communicates, "You are enough." But the truth, as clear and sharp as it may be, is this: affirmation that comes from outside yourself will never stay. And whatever arrives from the outside will always, in time, depart. True healing starts when a man sees that he no longer needs to plead for affection, because that thirst to be chosen can only be satisfied when he chooses himself first. Self-knowledge is the key, not as an idea from a book, but as a living practice. To look inward with a quiet and honest presence. To listen to the silence without needing words. To face the inner emptiness without turning away. It is in that place, where the spirit might feel it lies in ruins, that a true awakening of a man's strength can begin. Intimacy ceases to be an act of performance and becomes a mirror of what is real. Desire, when it is born from an inner fullness, does not plead. It invites. It moves with lightness. It is an expression of the spirit's own wholeness. That is the moment when physical connection can transform into a ritual. No longer an escape from the self, but a return to it, where sacred pleasure arises not from emptiness, but from abundance. Where the unseen parts become a source of wisdom, and silence becomes understanding. But to arrive at this place, a man must journey through the confines of his ego and gently remove, one by one, the masks of strength he has learned to wear. And in this pilgrimage, he finds something that the world tried to make him bury: his own beautifully exposed humanity. Not every person deserves access to your physical body, and even fewer deserve access to your energy. Intimacy, when it lacks consciousness, becomes an open channel through which your life force can be quietly depleted, often without your awareness. There are people, men and women, who are emotionally wounded, drawn to chaos, disconnected from their own center, who carry a deep void within them. When you merge with that kind of emptiness, it can consume the most vital parts of you, your clarity, your strength, and your sense of direction. You leave an encounter feeling more hollow than when you began, and yet you might mistake it for pleasure. The patterns another has lived, their emotional habits, the unconscious agreements they hold, all of this is carried within their energy. Intimacy is the doorway through which these energies can enter your life without needing permission. You are not just connecting with a physical body. You are engaging with their energetic state, their past burdens, their unresolved patterns. If you are not in a state of awareness, that fusion can become a source of disturbance. You may begin to feel tired, aimless, or confused without understanding why. This kind of connection is an unseen exchange, but its effects are deeply felt. It matters little if you have physical strength, a confident posture, or share words of wisdom if, in practice, you continue to open yourself to energies of chaos. What is needed is energetic discernment, presence, and a new way of choosing. Because as long as you keep giving yourself away to anyone simply to quiet your own emptiness, your spirit will remain unsettled. And one day, the stillness that was taken may not find its way back. Now, answer with honesty. How many times have you given yourself to someone, thinking it was just a passing desire, only to leave feeling more adrift than before? How many times did you mistake a fleeting pleasure for a deep connection and give your energy to someone who did not know how to care for their own? The answer might be difficult, but it may also set you free. Because from this moment forward, you can no longer say that you were unaware. You now understand that intimacy is not a casual game. It is a ritual. You now see that the body can be an oracle, and every close connection you choose to make will either help rebuild you or lead you deeper into your own shadowed valley. Now, the path is yours to choose. Will you continue offering your entire being to someone who only wants a small part of you? Or will you finally begin to ask for a level of consciousness that is worthy of your own spirit? If these words have stirred something within you, consider sharing a reflection below on the part that resonated with your spirit. And if this message found you, share it with other men who may still be walking in their sleep. Continue this journey of awareness, because what we are exploring here is not just about physical acts. It is about who you are when there is no one else to perform for. It is about your true nature.